Welcome to Chasing Aesthetics, where fitness meets science.
Your personal experience with both maybe I don't know if you did that, but both the reverse diet and now the recovery diet. Because me myself, for example, I tend to, like 3 or 4 years before, I tried the reverse diet because Lane Norton was like the guy that was promoting that, and it was a disaster for me because to be doing that small calorie increase for me was like devastating. And now this last season I tried the recovery diet, and for me it was a huge difference. So I would like to hear the experience from you, and yeah, the main difference between the reverse and recovery diet.
Um, well, I also want to hear a bit about your experience because yeah, you've done both. I think I could say I've done three. So my first contest season, I didn't get lean enough, but it was just I had no plan afterwards, and the diet was overly restrictive. So I had all these food allergies on the way out, and it was just a horrible like first 2 months basically to just feel normal, but there was no plan at all. I didn't know what to do. There was nothing really out there that was concrete. The second time I did the reverse diet, and I remember it was like maybe like 3 months post show, and I was up maybe like 6 pounds, and I was eating, yes, a lot more than I was during the peak of my contest season, but I didn't feel good. Like I wasn't hitting PRs. I was just as infatuated with eating as I was with my lifting. No, actually, probably more infatuated with the eating than with my lifting. And so yeah, I realized that this is weird. This is not how it should be, and stopped it and cured myself. And 2 months later, I was better. But I'd say that every season afterwards, after that season, I still kind of did something that was more reversive. Where I almost wanted to minimize the amount of fat and weight that I gained the experience post-show. And this was the first time in 2017 that I purposely, I'm like, hey, let's try to gain like 12 pounds the first 3 to 4 weeks. And again, I think, especially if you've ever been lean and then you're kind of gaining the weight back, it's hard initially. But once you've gone through a few cycles of that, you eventually you're like, it's no big deal. You'll come back to that at some point anyways. But that was probably the biggest thing that I noticed. It was just like when it came to the body dysmorphia that makes you kind of successful as a physique athlete, right? The perfection that you want, like that just got thrown away, like right away. And I think I literally felt the way I did the first day of my pre-contest diet. And I think what helped immensely was that, yes, I wanted to gain weight post-show, but I basically just, the rule with myself and the way I did the recovery diet was just like, go back to your off-season habits. Go back to the things that you love to do, the way you like to model your life, and just do that and lift weights. And yeah, man, like 3 weeks later, I was about 12 pounds heavier. And then it's funny because the 3 pounds after that I gained, it took me like 4 months to gain. So it did that. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm about to get fat in front of everyone. This is going to be embarrassing. And then it just balanced out and we started a normal gaining trend. So it worked perfectly. I could not have asked for a better experience, to be honest.
That's pretty similar to what I realized, and the same thing happened to me. And when I get like, I think I got, we measure in kilos, right? It was like maybe 5 kilos, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be on the beach and I'm gonna be very fat. And now, yeah, all of a sudden it was like a steady increase, and it was right. So yeah, I believed in the 3DMJ guy, so I was like, this is gonna be okay. And
so it's crazy though how it just switches like that though, right?
yeah, it's like it hits a threshold and then it's steady, so it's great. And I think that the reverse diet was made because we know that when we finish the prep, there's that fear of gaining weight, and also to not looking as shredded as the competition, which is totally normal. And I think that's the main reason why the reverse diet. Yeah, why we have the reverse diet, and also because of the boosting on metabolism that I don't believe in. So I think that's it.
But yeah, I mean, and that's, I guess the biggest difference is like sometimes with physique sports, we like, the more I've learned to look at my body as just like a tool, like, you know, a basketball player's jump shot or something like that, the less attached I am to it. And like, no sport do they expect you to keep peak performance like year round. It's like you hit it and then you get away, or else you're not going to have a very long career. And the same thing for physique sports. So yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad that it worked out well for you, man. Exactly like you said, it's like you get fat, you kind of worry for a little bit, and then it just plateaus. And
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the super compensation is necessary here. So you can stay shredded all year round if you want to make progress and if you want to keep your hormone levels steady. So I think that that's a good point. So now that we said that difference, we did talk about it, about a little bit of experience, and now I would like to address the both physiological and psychological benefits of doing the recovery diet, which I found myself, for example, pretty easily. But I would like to hear about those benefits.
well, I think the biggest thing, on the physical side, I guess, to start there, because it's always, people are just a collection of problems, psychologically speaking. We're all unique in what we deal with. But physiologically, I guess just to get to the bottom line, to the physical stuff, is that you'll probably recover your performance like much sooner. So all the things that you probably loved about the sport, the doing new weights, you know, doing new things with your body that you've never, you know, done before, like the joy of that, obviously you don't get a whole lot of that when you're prepping. So you will see that, you know, if you had a good program on the way down and you kept, you know, say 80-90% of your performance, that almost like within a month or so, you can kind of, maybe you're not hitting PRs, but you can kind of see them from like out in the distance. And I think above anything else, what matters the most to an athlete, it's like, what's going to get you the most progress. So with the recovery diet, you're going to put yourself in a position so that you can get back to being productive as soon as possible. And I'd say the other thing is just the quality of life increase, physically speaking. Hormones are powerful things, you know, like they're super powerful things. And when you're contest prep dieting, yeah, man, that system's all broken for the most part. So a lot of the things that sometimes you think you're feeling, you're not even feeling when you're contest prepping. I think anyone who's prepped knows that. It's like, man, I was so crazy. It's like, can't believe I did this or did that or thought this. So it stabilizes you hormonally, which I think kind of lends to the psychological side of things. And the psychological is probably where the majority of bodybuilding injuries happen. You know, it's whenever someone usually exits the sport for whatever reason, it's the most common thing is there's just something about the sport something about their system that they use that was not sustainable. So, you know, again, if you commit to doing physique sports, you're never going to have a normal relationship with food. You're never going to, you know, see the food in the world like everyone else. But whatever unique things you might be dealing with, it'll put them back to what hopefully prior to the prep was like something that was maintainable, something that worked with the rest of your life. So that's because a lot of the psychological issues that do happen, they're connected directly to your body fat and where that is. Because your body doesn't know it's doing a show. You know, it doesn't really care that it's shredded. It just knows that something's wrong and it thinks it's going to die, you know? So yeah, both of those things get cured right away. I'd say that like usually, and maybe you've experienced this with your people, but it's like the physical comes first and the psychological always comes later.
Of course, yeah, and it's connected, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's not easy to, once you see your body really peel in competition state, it's not easy to see yourself gaining weight and not being that shredded, not having veins all over your body. And I agree, that's not easy, but you need to understand that in a long run. It's not like just doing one contest and getting off the train. So
Yeah.
think
And like
that's
you need to go back and forth a few times. I think once you go back and forth a few times, like, okay, I've been shredded, I've been bulked. I've been shredded, I've been bulked. And
yeah.
you see that, oh, there's a pattern here. You kind of start to enjoy both sides. So, and now it's to the point, it's like when I finish my prep, it's like, that was really cool. That was a great experience, but I can't wait to like enjoy that body because they're both unique and special in their own way.
That's the thing. Maybe the first time you're like, oh, okay, I did this, and now, yeah, like this is the end. And now what? No. Then when you do a couple of preps, you know that once you get off the stage, you're going to improve. In order for the next one be like a huge difference between like maybe not the weight, but all the way you appear in the stage. So
Yeah. But the first time you get peeled, you think you can be peeled forever, or you
yeah.
wish, you know.
And all of a sudden you lose the veins and you're like, oh my God, I'm completely fat and like 300 pounds. Yeah. Okay. So now, just to...
Don't forget to rate the podcast on iTunes and leave a review. May the aesthetics be with you.